Right, this first video is the first in the series of the Tart sioned ones, and in this one I'm going to show you how to make pastry. Now if you put your flour into a mixing bowl and then add your margarine, you can see here I've got block margarine, which is a lot firmer than the margarine that comes in a tub, and it is less likely to melt when you start handling it. It's easier, we're going to rub that into the flour, but it's a lot easier first of all if you just break that up into cubes rather than trying to rub in the whole block. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just cubing that up. So once that's all cubed up, we're going to start doing the rubbing in process, which you will have done when we've done crumble, when we've done scones. So you're just going to lift up the flour and the margarine together. Okay, and I've slowed that down there. So you just rub it between your fingers and your thumbs until it resembles breadcrumbs. So this one will go like breadcrumbs because we're using half the amount of fat to what we use in flour. Okay, so just keep lifting it up, making sure you're bringing it up from the bottom of the bowl to make sure all of that margarine is mixed in with the flour. So you keep rubbing that, like I showed you, until all of the lumps have gone, and then if you gently shake your bowl from side to side, any lumps will come up, and just check if those are bits that are starting to stick together. If there's still lumps of margarine, then you need to carry on rubbing. Now at this stage, you should know what your design is for your tart sioned, so you will know if you're adding anything to your pastry. Now it's important to make sure that anything you add is not too big for when we roll it out. So you could at this stage add some cocoa powder, you could add some coconut, you could add some small pieces of broken chocolate or grated chocolate, may be better if you wanted to put chocolate in there. You could put something like cinnamon in there. You could put some lemon juice, some lime juice, orange juice, okay, to give it some flavour. As I said, not too many things. Some pupils in the past have put some biscuit crumbs in there to add a different texture to it. But as I said, you need to make sure that whatever you're adding is quite small so that it does then still be able to roll out properly. Some pupils in the past as well have put some food colouring into there to have some coloured pastry, so that's something else you may want to think about. So once you've added any additions to that, we're then going to actually make it into the ball of dough. So we're going to add, now to start with, you can add a few tablespoons of water because we know it's not going to stick together straight away. So I've just added some water in there using a beaker, and then using a table knife, just mix that around in the bowl until it comes together as a dough. Now you will notice, okay, or probably be aware that I'm going to have a larger quantity here than what you're going to have because I'm intending to demonstrate 3 different types of tarts to you during this series of videos, which I'm doing all today. So just keep mixing right around the bowl to make sure that it's having the chance to all stick together rather than just having one lump forming. Now ideally, if you've actually got enough water then in your pastry, you should just be able to lift it out of the bowl, and there shouldn't be much left in the bowl for you to do your washing up. Okay, so when you've got your ball of dough, pop that down on a bit of flour. Now we don't want too much flour down because we don't want it to actually pick up too much flour because that'll dry it out. So just gently knead it just to make sure that it's all staying together nicely, and then we can start rolling this out. Now it is important to try and get as many circles as we can from each of the rolls, because every time we put it back together it will actually make it that bit tougher. So we're going to roll your pastry out. If it does stick to the rolling pin, just pop a bit of flour on there, and we're going to roll that out until it's just under 1 centimetre thick. Okay, we don't want them too thick, otherwise they'll take up too much space in the tin when we actually come to make our tarts, but we don't want them too thin that they break when we handle them. Okay, so we're just going to roll that out. Check as you're doing it that it's not sticking. Okay, if it is, just pop a little bit more flour down because again it's not going to be easy to lift your circles up if they're stuck to the work surface. So once you've rolled it out, now we're going to cut those out, so it doesn't matter if you haven't got it into a perfect rectangle. Okay, we're going to start cutting. Okay, if I start at this end, that'll be better. So start cutting them out. When you do cut them out, cut them as close to each other as you can. As I said, so we don't have to roll out the pastry more than we have to. So you're going to keep doing that until you've got all of your circles. And then once you place those over to one side, okay, and as I said, if your board's nice and floured, they're going to come up easy enough. And then what we can do with the rest of the pastry is put it back together and roll it out again. So there shouldn't really be any waste. What you're looking for is to make 12 of these circles. If you do manage to make more, unfortunately we're not going to be able to make more tarts because I've only got enough tins for you to make one batch up. But it would be an idea to actually cut out a few extras if you can, because then if any of them do break when you're putting them into your tins, you've got some spares there. Okay, so again, you're just going to roll out the pastry that you've got left, and as I said, cut out some more circles. So once you've got all your pastry circles, we need to get them ready then to go into the freezer ready for next lesson. Now, something I should have also mentioned, it's really important to make sure you only use the cutters that the teacher has put out for you, because otherwise they may be too small and they won't fit into the trays properly. So take this over, or go and collect some greaseproof paper then, which will be ready cut out for you. Pop a piece of greaseproof paper down and then put one of your pastry circles on there, and you are just going to alternate the pastry circles with your pieces of greaseproof paper until you have got them all stacked up. What you're going to do then, I won't make you wait for me to stack all of these because I'm only doing exactly the same thing. Once you've got your pastry all stacked, take your pile of pastry then over to where the cling film has been placed. We're going to wrap that up in cling film, pop your name on it, and that'll go in the freezer until next lesson.